Hi everyone, happy Sunday to you all. Hope you're having a good day. I have with me today a beautiful mother of a 7-year-old with Down syndrome. I want to say a big welcome to My Child Has Down Syndrome. So what series? I hope you've been enjoying this series so far. This is the 10th episode we're holding on this series, and it's just about it's about our children with Down syndrome and about parents. I brought about I mean we've talked to parents and just parents and siblings so far, but I mean what we're trying to talk about now is how we're going to voice out, be the microphones, for our children, because we know definitely, most definitely, they have a voice. And then what we're trying to do is to create awareness and acceptance of persons with Down syndrome. And the beautiful thing about what we're trying to do today is that we are also learning from our stories. We're encouraging each other, we are strengthening each other, we are debunking some myths, we're unpacking issues, we're like, just trying to see how we can, create a safe and inclusive, you know, um, environment, community, society, whatever you want to call it, for our kids. So that as they continue to grow, there is more acceptance, there is more inclusion, and more people that were, ignorant of the condition would see that they are a human being first before the condition. We want people to put them, first before the condition. We want them people to, put the condition back to the back burner, because that's where it belongs. And while we're trying to do this, all we're trying to showcase is their abilities. And the last guest I remember very well, Surya from Amsterdam, says that she believes she doesn't even like to hear the word disability. That she has coined a word or termed it reachability, which means that without having persons with disabilities or different abilities or different needs in our midst, in our world, we would not understand their impact. And even if we don't have anything to do with them, or we've never really encountered them, we will not know what they've got to offer. So this means that reachability means that they are actually people that have been placed in our world to enrich our world, enrich our lives. So today I have with me Mrs. Ife Oluwa Adeoti Oduyemi, a beautiful Nigerian mother to a Nigerian um, boy with Down syndrome. Thank you for that smile. And that smile is so reassuring. Yes,
Thank you very
we don't
much.
get that a lot. We don't get that a lot. When people see our kids, do you think they smile at them?
Yeah, averagely, for those that are educated a bit, they do smile at them, but
Yes.
majority don't.
Majority don't. They're like, oh, this child must be suffering. These people must be, these people must be one problem. Like having this child is actually like a stigma in our society, and that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to reduce, eliminate the stigma as much as possible. We're trying to see how we can um stop the mistreatment and abuse of persons with Down syndrome. Thank you for watching. At the end of this video, we'll be able to download this video on YouTube. You're gonna see it on Facebook. If you're watching, you can share this. You can share from wherever you're watching, so that other people can join us as we begin with Ife Oluwa Odunyemi. Let us listen to a story. I hope that at the end of the day you'll be inspired. At the end of the day, you'll be able to educate, people in your community, people in your workplace, your neighbors, people in schools, that Down syndrome is not the end of the world. It's not a disease, and it is not a death sentence. So quickly, I would like welcome you to the show, Mrs. Oduyemi. Can we meet you briefly, please?
Thank you very much, Tola. My name is Ife Odunyemi. I'm a mother. I have 3 children, and I have 2 girls and a boy who is a boy with special needs and with
Yeah.
particularly Down syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to be here this evening.
Hmm. Wow, wow. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for coming on the. It's a chat. Actually, we're just going to be gisting and be creating awareness. Then, most importantly, we want to enlighten our community because we want the world to be a safe place for our kids. So that wherever our kids find themselves, we won't have to fret too much. We'll just know that yeah, I mean, we've been able to do as much as we can to create an inclusive community and world for them to thrive. Just like the topic revolves around having a child or a sibling with Down syndrome, can you briefly describe your journey, how your journey has been so far? I mean, can you just share with us?
Okay, in my own case, Enoch, that's the name of my son, happens to be the only son and the last of 3 children. So I had him just like the other 2 children. So when I had him, I observed that the other 2 were about 3.2 kg. The eldest was 3.5, but he was 2.5, and I was the only one that gave birth that particular day. Even when I saw him, I was like, how is this child small like this? So,
Hmm.
but I knew that they didn't exchange my child because I was the only person that gave birth in that hospital that day. It was a private
Wow.
hospital. So when they brought the child to me, actually I suspected at birth because I
Hmm.
saw him do his tongue like this.
Hmm.
He did tongue like that. So I suspected. And something about me is that even before I had a child with Down syndrome, of course, nobody prays for something like this, but I'm kind of informed. I know a lot about Down syndrome even before I had him, about cerebral palsy. I just know things. I know about diabetes, high blood pressure. So immediately I called my younger brother. I told him that, hello, Mayokun, I think this boy has Down syndrome. He said in Yoruba that I've come again, no, I've come my while again. But he came over to my house and he checked
Hmm.
him because they have some specific features. They will have
Yeah.
spaces in between their legs and stuff like that. So he checked and said that my sister, there's nothing wrong with this child. This child is a perfect child. I said, thank God. So immediately that I just erased it from my mind and I kept on living my normal life. But
Hmm.
4 days after birth, my mom was around and my mother-in-law, and my mom kept saying that this baby is jaundice. This baby, I said, Mom, there's nothing wrong. Mom said that this baby is jaundice. I know what I know. So immediately she didn't allow anybody to rest, and bam, landed in the hospital. Then the doctor
Wow.
looked at him and he was so white. And the doctor told me there and there that, Madam, if not that you gave birth in this hospital, I will not accept this child. That's what he told me. And I knew that
Well,
yes, there was fire on the mountain. So there and there, he told me to go and get some money as deposits because the jaundice was so much, and
hmm.
because of the area I was, we had to be taken to another hospital for phototherapy. So he told me that
Wow.
they have to run some tests to see the level of the jaundice. That if it's so high, then they'll need to do blood transfusion. But if it's
Hmm.
not so high, then they'll just do the phototherapy and he'll be fine. So immediately we went to another hospital at Egbeda, a big hospital. We did the phototherapy, and so that was, and all this time I didn't know because I'd already erased from my mind that there was nothing wrong with him. So
Wow.
after the phototherapy,
Phototherapy.
when people just give birth, they are supposed to be relaxing at home, resting, but that was not my case. In the case of
Hmm.
Enoch, since when he was 4 days old, I've been on the move. So
Hmm.
at a point in the hospital, but my mom went with me to the hospital, and the nurse came at one time and said, Madam, there's no warm water. That can I have my bath with cold water? I can remember. I said that I do. My mom said, no, 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 no. She can't have a bath with cold water. She just had a child. That the hospital should go and look for warm water for me. She insisted, and so that was how the journey began. Then after that, he had constant eye discharge. So I took
Hmm.
him back to the doctor. Then the doctor referred us to Lasuth. And before the referral anything later, we got to Lasuth around 12 midnight that day. But
Oh
last
my
suit was just like afternoon. So, and there were a lot
God.
of cases. There was no oxygen, the way our health system is here. But with a lot of
God.
taking card and everything, when the nurse was attending to him, he kept doing his eyes like this. He kept doing, and I pinched my husband. I said that what they are checking this boy is like this boy has Down syndrome. My
Hmm.
husband was like, which one is Down syndrome? I said that Google it. So, but they didn't tell us anything there. They only just treated him and gave us an antibiotic that he should use that antibiotics that he'll be fine. And truly, he used the antibiotics, he was fine. But I observed that he was not reaching his milestone. At 3 months, his neck was not stayed. And I told my mother-in-law that there's something wrong with this, but she said there's nothing. But I knew that there was something because I had other two children and I knew what they should accomplish at each of the milestones. So I went back to the doctor. Then the doctor gave me a letter. Around this time, I was around 4 months old. So he gave me a letter and referred me to psychiatric hospital, which is the C&A center at Oshodi. So that was where I was attending. I got him a card there, started going there. And at that day, when I went there, when it was around 4 months, it was confirmed that he had Down syndrome. When I got there, the doctors were on strike. So we were sitting down waiting. Then I met a speech therapist. So he just came to me and said, Madam, what's the problem? I said, I want to see the doctor. He said, what's the problem? I said, I don't know what's wrong with this man. But he just looked at his palm and said, Madam, this boy is Down syndrome. I said, why? He said, I should look at my palm. How many lines do I have there? I said, I have 3. So he told me, look at your son's palm. How many can you see? I said, I can only see 2. He said, oh, that means it's Down syndrome. So when I left there, I went home. And when I got home,
Was that how the
I
doctor
cried.
broke the news?
Yes, that was when he broke the news to me. Because the doctor was not around. So don't forget that this was just somebody passing by and asking that, why am I
Oh,
staying long? Doctors are not allowed. I said, I'm waiting for the doctor. I want to know what is wrong with my son. So he just looked at my palm and said, your son is Down syndrome. That's what is wrong with
hmm.
him. So I left there. Since the doctor is not around, I got home. And when I got home, I cried. That was the first time I really, really cried. And so that's the beginning of my journey.
Wow. Wow. From 4 days old, you got the diagnosis at 4 months. That means you've just been going up and down, round and round in circles, not actually knowing, why he was missing his milestone. I mean, why he wasn't meeting his milestones. But I think there was something. I mean, you had this intuition that kept telling you that there was a problem. Did he
Yes.
cry at birth? Did he cry at birth?
Yes, he cried at birth. He cried at birth. He did every normal thing that a child will do at birth. And in my
Mm,
own case, I'm quite favored because Enoch doesn't have any congenital disease. He didn't have any hole in the heart. So by the time
no.
I got to psychiatric hospital, you know, at the course of my journey, I've met people and I've been in a session of mothers and they asked me that, which hospital is your son using? And I said, psychiatric hospital. They're like, God forbid. And I'm like, psychiatry is not only mental case. Anything that has to do with CNS, which is the central nervous system, has to do with psychiatry. And I'm really glad that I really use that hospital because in the whole of the West, people come as far as Shagamu, Ogun State, because you have to get there as early. You believe that when I get there as early as 6:30, my number is around number 42 or so. Because
Oh
government
my,
hospital is a federal hospital, you have to take numbers, then they will attend to you in beats. So I wake up very early as 5, leave home and go to this center. So the first day I went, I remember my mother-in-law went with me. So before we got a card, we are told to do series of tests, which I did on him because they have to have his complete history. We did EGG at the main Yaba center. The other ones we ran the test there. They did a complete test. Then from time to time, I kept going every week. And at a point when I resumed for work, I was taking 1 day off, 2 day off. But when I saw that I couldn't keep taking days off because it's not my father's business. So I looked around, I prayed, the daycare I was taking him to, I asked the woman that I need someone that can help me take this boy to this place. So I got a woman in her average age. So she would come early in the morning. I would have dressed up for Enoch. I was not even really mobile then. So she would go by public transport. I would give her money I'll give her money for her lunch. Then she will take Enoch there, and she'll get there early, and that's how every week and later she will bring him home. So that was how I kept
What age?
doing. Yeah.
In what? How old was Enoch then?
It was, all these things was from around that 5 months going. It was not, it was up to a
Oh,
year. So I started therapy
wow.
quite early. When you get to C&A, that C&A center, that C&A is Child and Adolescent Center, and that's the only child and adolescent center that is around this part. So people used to come a lot. So when you get
Mm,
there, there are consultants that will attend to you, though it's a federal government hospital. So the consultants, at a point, because I said I should call my husband. So I remember that at a time I went with my husband, the lady sat her down and said, yes, this boy has Down syndrome and his case is mild, but therapy will do him a whole lot of good. So because I was like, does
mm,
he need therapy? The man said, yes, he needs therapy. So this woman I employed would go there, then they would take turns, they would do therapy. But the therapy was just about 30 minutes, 20 minutes, because they have a lot of children to attend to. So, but at a point, once that I followed her, I know Enoch was favored because there was a man that would leave his own center and come to where Enoch was and purposely do therapy for him because he was responding to the therapy they were doing to him. So at a point, he
wow.
approached me and said, Madam, this boy, bringing him here will not help him. I will advise you that you get someone to come over to the house to take him. I said,
Mm,
he said he cannot come because he's a top person. That where do I
yeah.
live? I told him. So he just looked around, and fortunately, he got me somebody from Igbobi, that's orthopedic hospital. That
Mm,
was living not too far from my area. So he would come around, he would do the therapy. And in the course of doing therapy, there are a lot of things I needed to get. I needed to
mm,
get therapy chairs, a table, a sitter.
wow.
I just kept getting everything that needed to be gotten. And
Wow.
once the person doing therapy leaves, then your own work starts. Because the person doing therapy will only come for maximum an hour or 2 hours. Then he will tell you, when I'm gone, madam, do this, do that. So more of the job is on the mother and the caregiver to
Mm,
actually continue what the therapy has started. If you just say that the therapy has come and that is all, then you will not get the improvement that you actually need.
wow. You hit some notes there that I don't even know which to pick on. Right. You said, in fact, you have really, really been favored. Honestly, you've been favored. From 5 months, you got support, you got someone that was taking for therapy, then someone started coming, you talked about all the things you had to get for therapy. And funny enough, I know that some people just say things like, leave this child, don't stress yourself, no need for therapy. Well, it's very controversial. Some people think when it's time for this child to walk, the child will walk when it's time, that we don't need to stress on therapy. Why is it so? For me, I think because in some places, getting therapeutic interventions are very expensive. I don't know what people feel about that. Some most of the time it's not really affordable for like psychiatric center you talked about now. A lot of people would be there. You see people try to come there, and I don't know why this kind of services cannot be catered. In Nigeria, all across the states in Nigeria, because I know that people are not getting early intervention. So for me, I can just say that at least you're done of early intervention, which is good news. And that was, I think, well, maybe did I say that you have raised up yourself, when you got to know about this at 4 months. I mean, how did this set you back? Did you get hit by the news? How did you pick yourself up? Can you just share how you picked yourself up? I know you cried. You don't need to talk about the cry because that cry may not be something. Let me not talk about the cry. So how did you pick yourself? Yeah,
Okay.
somebody is saying here now that they usually say they will outgrow it. I don't want to go there. That's it.
Okay.
So pick yourself.
Okay, let me start by saying by responding to the person that said they will outgrow it. Let me just paint a scenario. Number one, I'll say that there are two things. The mother or the caregiver should find happiness for herself first, because the first thing is that you are first. I'm first Ife. I need to be mentally stable. I need to find my joy. I need to find my happiness before I can even think of caring for somebody with special needs. So for me, I naturally I'm a kind of aggressive person. What I mean aggressive is that once I want to get something, I get it done. So immediately when I had Down syndrome, I called my parents. I called my daddy. Daddy, this boy has Down syndrome. He started reading up about it. So for me too, at that stage, I started reading up. I had known a lot, but I started reading deep. I got to know that the name Down syndrome is because of the professor that first knew that his Down syndrome was called Professor Langdon Down. So assuming if the person was Odunyemi, it would have been called Odunyemi syndrome. So that's why it's because the person's surname is Down.
Go on. I'm enjoying you.
That's why this syndrome is called Down syndrome, not because they want to use the name Down. So I started checking what are my chances. Is he going to die soon? I checked what are the life expectancies. I checked do they live long? I checked do they get married? I checked all these things so that I could know where I'm actually going to. Then the second stage is acceptance. Then I accepted this child, that this boy is my child. And for people saying they will outgrow it, I'm sorry, but they cannot outgrow it. And I'll paint a scenario. Let's say there's a woman. Let's say a woman had 5 girls, and you are praying to God that you want a male child. Just imagine, and let's be realistic. I'm a Christian too, and I know let us do the right thing at the right time. So assuming a woman had 5 girls, and she's believing God that I want, this part of Nigeria, we pray a lot, I want a male child. Then somehow the woman gives birth to a 6th child, and that child happens to be a female child. Is there any kind of prayer that can change that female child to a male child? Let's be sincere. Is there any kind of prayer? No. That baby had come out as a female child, and that child is going to be a female child. So that's the same thing with Down syndrome. I also got to know that it's not because I did anything. It's just a God factor. Even up till now, scientists have not been able to know what is the real cause of the extra chromosome. We only know that a regular child has 46 chromosomes. Somebody living with Down syndrome has an extra 47. So, okay, I knew all this information. So, how do I now begin to live my life? So, I knew that, okay, I need to accept this child. He's not sick. A child with Down syndrome is not sick. He's not, you can't pray and say, God, heal him. He's not sick. He's just a child living with Down syndrome. So, I told myself that, normally we'll have children that, okay, when you grow up, yeah, you'll be a lawyer, you'll be a doctor. Oh yes, it's good. But for me, I just took him and said, I'm going to love this child for nothing. I'm just loving you because I want to love you. So that was the driving force for me. Number one, I made sure that I got my joy. I get my sanity. If I need to dress well, I dress well. If I need to wear anything, be happy, go for lunch, eat, I do it because I need to be mentally stable. Then acceptance. I accepted this child, that this is my child. He's a child. When I'm going out, I go everywhere with him. I don't care. And funny enough, because of the way I've taken him, everybody around me too has taken him for who he is. So I really don't really get that rejection kind of, because even Enoch is very friendly anywhere he's going to. And then I don't treat him separately at home. If I'm giving all the sisters chores, this one sweep the parlor, Enoch will tell you that meaning that where's my own, what am I doing today? And I'll tell him, okay, you go and arrange the shoe rack. So from day one, I don't treat him differently. I only know that he's a child with Down syndrome, and he's my son. Then let me add again that the prayer part is that God brought me in line with good people. So immediately Enoch started working. He worked at 1 year, 10 months. That's from the man that came from orthopedic. Immediately he started working. The guy told me, I'm leaving. My job is completed. Enoch has started working. So I thanked him. I was happy. Then after some time, when I'm working, actually, when I'm on leave, I'm on the move. I'm always going somewhere. I've gone to Down Syndrome Foundation of Nigeria. I'm always going to make inquiries. In one of my walking up and down, I met a man and I introduced him. My name is this. I have a child in so can you give me your number? I have different people's number on my phone. So at the time when I knew that he needed the next therapy, I just called up this man and said, his name is Mr. Toyin. He's a very wonderful. He has been with us for over 5 years now. So I spoke to him and said, I met you so and so. He couldn't remember. I said, please, I need you to come home, take my child, Enoch. And he was living at Mowe, and I stay at Ipaja. So you can imagine the cost that is far. But I told him I don't mind. So he started coming over, and so he worked on Enoch's. He worked on his speech in his talk. He would tell me, go and get vibrator brush. I'll go around VI looking for everything just to ensure that Enoch gets the necessary care that he needs.
I feel your energy from here, honestly. Like my laptop is on fire. Like I can feel that you don't even give yourself any excuse not to do anything about it. Yeah, I know that in Nigeria it's quite expensive, it can be overwhelming, but you did not give yourself any excuses that, this is going to stress me. And I know for me, I remember very well that some people were suggesting that this child, you will come out of this child. Why don't you try and have that baby like quickly, just in case? Nothing, because there's no. Did you get those kind of comments like try and have another child, this and being your only boy? Mine is even my only girl as well. Being your only boy, what do you even like in your mind determined to do? Despite what people do, you said you have people that supported you, which is very, very key. That's also very, very key when you have family support and like just at the day of the diagnosis and onwards, people are there support. That is so key, and that is so crucial for us to have that kind of support. Did you ever get things like try and have another child in case?
Well, for me, I would say not really. Because when at the point I wanted to get married, I actually told God I wanted to. I'm the only daughter. I don't have a sister. I don't have a sister. So I really wanted girls. So I told God I wanted 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. So and as far as I've had the 2 girls and 1 boy, it doesn't matter if the child is a child with special needs. For me, it's complete. So from my in-law side, sincerely, my mother-in-law has never mentioned it to me for one day that I have another child. And I give it to my husband too. There's no pressure from anywhere. Even if he's saying it jokingly, I just tell him that I'm not ready for that and it will die down there. But a scenario that I remember was I went to the tailor's place at a time I have a tailor to sell clothes for Enoch. So he was now talking, and in his talk, he now said, madam, when you have a son now, you will know that this disease. I was not like, excuse me, is Enoch not a boy? So maybe he just realized what he was saying and he just diverted to something else. Because he was like, when I have a son now, then I can know that I can do this or do that. And I thought of it that when I have a son, this one I have, is he a girl or is he an hermaphrodite or is he not a son? To me, like it's funny like that.
That's really very rude. So the person standing in front of him is not a male. You did not check the. You see, that's why we're doing this, and we have Ife here today. She's been talking about her journey, trying to educate the public, and this is so key. Imagine getting those kind of comments, and you get a lot of those. I got some of those. Even some people, their body language was enough for me to know that they didn't want my daughter around them, and it was okay, But now we have the strength. I can see, because when we come together to talk about this issue, then it's gonna, like, the more we talk, this Sorosoke. Sorosoke means about the NSAS thing. The more we gather,
Sorosoke.
Okay, that's what we're trying to do. The more we raise our voices, the more those negativity will die down, will end, and will be totally eliminated. I understand that there are sometimes that we feel like overwhelmed, and it doesn't really matter, because even children without Down syndrome have something else that is even more like difficult to manage. There are many other diseases. Down syndrome is not the end of the world. It's not the worst. There are many others that even we can still find out something. We can still see something beautiful about a human life that just formed from blood, for 9 months and was born, delivered, and did not die at birth. I know some people even say that, let me even have a child. Even if the child has a form, let it just be that I even got pregnant. Not that we're
Yeah.
trying to like make them here, but what I'm trying to say is that people should value every life. Every life matters. I
Yes.
can't imagine working with my child and someone starts to tell me that, oh, try and have another child. You don't have a girl yet. Or try and have another boy. You don't have a boy yet. It's not until I have. Anyway, don't let me even. I'm getting angry already. I'm getting angry, but I'm just trying my best not to. Because it's not even about getting angry. It's about now what we're trying to do here, which is so key. When you get people, that don't understand or are ignorant of this condition, what we want to do is educate them, and that's why I brought you out here to tell us about your story. Thank you again. So we'll go ahead to ask you the next question, which is like, I just want to explain how did you balance your work life, with raising Enoch? I know that you've done so many things you should have done for him, like from birth. In fact, you really did an amazing job. That what I mean by amazing job is that you got help from the right sources. That's what I mean by amazing. Because a lot of times people will tell you, oh, if you use this herb, I'm not against herbs, but though it's very controversial. People will say, this thing is curable. If you use this herb, if you mix this together, if you give this child this, and I believe some people also say things like supplements can help. Yes, I know about omega-3. I don't want to go into all those medical stuff or maybe using of medicine, because the last training we had, I remember someone asking if they could place on any supplement that would help them grow. Yes, I know omega-3 is good, but not talking about that right now. What I'm trying to say is, how have you been able to balance your work life, raising Enoch?
Okay, it has been a life of sacrifice. I won't come here to say it has been easy. It hasn't been easy because for me, I'm an accountant, and if you know
Hmm.
anything about accounts, you're always reconciling and always when it's month end time, many times you have to stay, you have to meet your targets, you have to balance your reports, you have to get it delivered. So for
Hmm.
me, I've had helps. I've had someone staying with me. I've had nannies that are live-ins that stay with me. And what I do is
Hmm.
that when they come, I educate them. I tell them, okay, um, this is me, my children, three of them. This is Toby Tosin. And my therapy taught me from day one that to use the word a child with special needs. So that's already I said Enoch is a child with special needs. So he really taught me the right words to use. And if I say, is he saying, no, 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 that's not the right thing. You don't say abnormal. You say, okay, these ones are regular children. So I educate these people and tell them that this is Enoch. Even the two elder sisters, if you ask them, they will tell you. I tell you, don't beat him anyhow. Yes, it's not easy. Because for me, Enoch is active, he's super active. And it's really a lot of work, as in training him, because per minute you have to your eyes have to be checking everywhere, where he's going, where he's not sitting down. He rarely watches TV, he's always on the move. So I educate them that this child is living in Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? Mommy, what's Down syndrome? I'll tell them he has extra chromosome. You have 46, he has 47. And that is why all these things he's doing, that is why he's doing it. It's not as if he wishes to do that. So I educate them, and that is how I've been able to balance my work life. So up till recently, he attends a regular school, doing well, till I saw that no, they are not really meeting up his needs, and I had to bring him over to a more standard school, more Rainbow Down syndrome. They are doing beautifully well there. So balancing work life with Enoch has it's been a life of sacrifice. It's not easy, but God has been helping me, and I know that a lot of women. I've had stories of women that will have to leave their jobs just to take care of children with special needs. I know
Hmm.
a handful of them, because
Hmm.
sometimes this nobody can take care of your child like you.
Hmm.
So most women, and don't, so people should not just feel that these women are lazy, they don't want to work. No, these
Hmm.
children need attention, and many times they will need to resign from their work just to take care of these children that God has given them. So it's a life of sacrifice.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Well done. Well done. When you mentioned nanny, if you see the good pimples on my body, when you said nanny, because I once had a nanny that held my daughter's neck like this. and pushed her. She fell face flat on the floor like that. What did my daughter do? What was her offense? She said she backwashed, water back into the
Okay, what I
bottle.
imagine.
And that was why she did that. I've had terrible experiences with nannies, especially with my daughter. Especially with my daughter. So when you said nanny, I almost like froze, because education is very, very good, and that is it starts from home actually. It starts from home. There are times I see my husband down too, and I just start educating him. Yes, for the hyperactivity, sometimes our children with Down syndrome they mimic some behaviors that look like autism. So they say research has it that sometimes children with Down syndrome mimic behaviors that look like autism. And again, they sometimes have difficulty controlling their impulses. So they have to just do that thing. It's like they're just so it's good that you're educating your children as well and also outsiders. And I want to move quickly to the issue of people saying, "Hold your child down." Let leave that. Those kind of comments. Can't you people hold this child? This child is doing this. Please, can you share with us? Especially, I am waiting for the opportunity where I'll be able to have a pastor come on board to share with us how our children are accepted in churches. Because I know that some parents cannot even take their kids to church. Last week, I was still crying. A parent told me that she had to stay back at home with her child. Why? Because in church, hey, they were just saying a lot of stuff that were not nice at all. They were actually abusing her son in church. And it's only her son who drive away from where other kids are. So how has the church been able to support your child? Because I know that you're very, very committed in church. I know that,
Well,
support the school.
well, for me, my church has been supportive. And for those that make comments, for me as a person, I've already forgiven them before the comment is even made. I just believe that they don't know. So that is why we need to educate them. People make different comments, that leave him, sit down there, either in church or not in church. But I believe it's because they are not educated. But if people know what it entails, there's a particular child that I used to teach the children in church at a time. A child comes to the church, and looking at that child, I sense that this child is autistic. But everybody felt that what's wrong with him? He's getting angry easily. Then one day I called somebody and said, no, 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 it's not a matter of deliverance. This child is a child with special needs. So I just believe that it's not that we don't, yes, everybody doesn't pray for this kind of children, but let's just try and be informed. Because if everybody is informed, then we know how to take care of these children better. You understand? Anybody making any comment and saying, "Oh, that child, leave that child," I believe that they might not be doing it out of wickedness, but it's because they are wondering, why is he behaving like this? Why is he not sitting? They don't know. So that is why we have to keep educating them. So for me, I don't let any comment get to me, because unless you remember that a parent with a child with special needs is already in distress. It has a percentage of trauma already. So for the public now, the only thing we can do is to be informed and encourage parents with children with special needs, because already, without making any comment, that person has a lot to think already. That person has a level of trauma. That person is thinking, how will I go out now? But for me now, I'll be thinking, I'm going out with Enoch. How do I hold him? How do I sit down with him? Who monitors him? So passing comments will not do any good. So that is why people should be informed. No, there are a lot of Down syndrome is just one out of 1001 disabilities. There's cerebral palsy, there's ADHD, there's attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder. There are a lot of intellectual a lot of disabilities. And the truth is that I will not be the last to have a child with Down syndrome. Others, there are still more children with Down syndrome that are still going to be born. That is just it. That is just it. So we need to educate and allow our children to have a safe place in the community. And I believe that this is one of the reasons why we are having this conversation, to educate people around us, so that everybody can be happy and they can actually encourage mothers.
Wow, Ife, you are a very powerful advocate. I can feel your energy, honestly. And according to IDEA, actually, there are 13 categories of disabilities, you know.
Mm.
So there's intellectual, there's global disability, there are different types, but they categorize them into 13 different disabilities. So Down syndrome is not the end of the world. Even any disability is not the end of the world. Yeah, yeah. There are some very rare diseases too. There are some children that have rare diseases. The fact, what I even, what I, when I remember when I you know, I tell myself, I encourage myself sometimes, like, okay, I didn't die during this pregnancy. During the delivery, I did not die. I had the baby. And, you know, the journey of life itself is a very, very risky one.
Yes.
God forbid. You understand? So bringing a child to life as well. So I always tell myself, just rejoice that a child has been born. Now, it behooves on us as mothers to continue to speak about the things that matter. Why? Because we're going to grow. What kind of education do we want to leave with our children? For instance, I know that some of our kids, some of our other kids, they would, yeah, look at Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is an American star. He just lost his sister, 32 years old, Deandra, that's her name, with Down syndrome. But the his sister had actually changed his life over and over
Mm.
again, eventually before she died. You know,
Right.
it is a huge loss. It is still a human being that died. Just as a human being is being born, we celebrate. So people sometimes, I know, in our community, because it's really, really, really tough. Sometimes people try to wish them away. People say God forbid. People, all those
Yeah.
kind of comments. And I believe that if you and I and many other mothers, continue to advocate in different types of, or using different platforms, I believe this is going to go far and it's going to be
Yeah.
beneficial for our kids. So this question, there's no need to ask you this question because I already know the answer. Let me just ask it because I know people are listening. But let us make it like very, very let me just let's be honest. Did you ever wish are there some times that you wish you never had a child with Down syndrome?
uh if I come here and tell you that there are many times I wish, there are some high moments. You can see me now, I'm talking, but there are some moments I'm just like, "Ah, why me?" But the other
Mm,
question now is, why not you? You
mm,
wonder why me, because I'm like, God, I'm serving you. Why? What have I actually done wrong? Why me? But the next question now is, why not you? So there are some times that I just wish that, assuming I don't, assuming I didn't have a child with Down syndrome. But
I,
now it's having Enoch has given me a different aspect to life, because
mm,
when you have a regular child, the child's neck stays, you just feel it's normal. The child is sitting down, it's normal. The child begins to walk, it's normal. But for Enoch, he had to be therapized for everything. He had to undergo therapy before his neck could stay. He underwent therapy before he could crawl. He went through therapy for him to walk. He went through therapy to be able to speak. So you will appreciate God that all these things are taken for granted. I won't take it for granted. So I recall when I gave birth and the regular BCG I they give to children at birth. When I got there, it was 2.5 at birth. He had dropped to 2.3. The nurse told me that, Madam, take your child. I'm going to breastfeed this child. When this child is 2.5, then you can bring him back. I was wondering, what is all this? I was down.
wow.
The day he was 2.5, I was jumping up. I was so
Mm,
happy that, oh my God, thank you. But people just believe that, my child is normal. I was happy that, finally, Enoch is going to take BCG today. So I took him.
mm,
So a lot of milestones that
mm,
when he was, even he worked at 1 year, 10 months. And I was in the office then. When my brother, then if people want to come, I'll say, come, come, come. Don't worry, just come to my house. I know that they will help me. So I already told him, please, for him to work there, you have to stay by the wall for 30 minutes in intervals. So when I'm going to church, then I'll stay by the wall. So I told my brother, this is how you should do. Then he called me. Enoch is walking. I said, it's a lie. He said he's walking. I'm serious. He just took 2 steps now. I was so excited. I was happy that finally. So it's achievable. So, when the child begins to reach all these milestones, then you know that you have to thank God that all these things
yeah.
we take for granted, we shouldn't take them for granted. So he has given me a different aspect to life. He has taught me how to be patient. I'm a kind of person that I want to do my things fast. I want to set time. But with Enoch, no, you have to really teach him. They will do their things at their pace. So it gives you, and that you cannot get. It gives you a different way to really appreciate God. So for now, I wouldn't trade him for anything. I just want my boy the way he is. Give me like that. If the house is quiet, I'll be wondering if you are sleeping too much, or wake up and come and start scattering everywhere as usual. Because I'm wondering if this house is too quiet. So it's just like that now.
Wow. Ife, well done. How old is Enoch? Is it 7 or 6?
What did you say?
How old is Enoch? Is it 7?
Enoch is 7. He will be 8 in March next year. March 13 will be 8. He's 7 now.
Where do you see him in 5 years?
Okay, in 5 years' time, like Enoch is a very intelligent boy. That's the truth. Nobody wants to believe that, but I know he's a very intelligent boy. He has done things. I'm just wondering that. So I see him. He has interest in running. He runs. His legs are very fast. So in 5 years' time, I'm working towards him participating in the Special Olympics. Maybe one of these days you go and represent Nigeria in one of these countries. Then He also has passion. He has passion for the phone. He likes taking pictures. Like today, he collected a teddy from one small girl in church, and he put the teddy on the chair. He collected my phone. Mommy, I want to snap. I said, oh, yeah, snap. He takes pictures. If you check my phone now, there are a lot of pictures. So I see him becoming the T.Y. Bellows of our time, doing very well in photography and stuff like that. So those are the 2 key talents I've actually seen in him.
I'm so happy for you in advance. Yeah, because we all witnessed the success story of Chris Nick. I can't remember that guy's name. The guy that won the Iron Man.
Okay, the Iron Man. Okay.
Yeah, the first person with Down syndrome to win Iron Man. Of sport, swimming, running, different sports. And can I tell you that? Let me tell you this for free that they must have started with him like when he was very young. Setting of goals. There's what you call person-centered planning. It's called the PCP. PCP. You set the goal, then you work towards the goal. So you work back. Who does this child need in his life to achieve this milestone? And the milestone will be broken into bits. What are the first things in it? Hip strengthening exercise. The last training we did with Sarah from the US, where he had to do with how to help. I think you were on that training.
Yes, I was on training.
Them
with exercises.
Exactly. All that. Those are all the things he needs for, like, maybe let's say it's leisure time or pastime. Can be skills for all the because he's got the strength. It's a different thing if he has a high level of hypotonia. By hypotonia, I mean the low tone muscle. But he doesn't have that hypotonia we're talking about. Instead, he's got strength. Like, so we need to develop more strength, energy for him so that he can reach his goal. So when you have that dream, it's a dream. You paint it like that. That's a dream. That's a big picture. You set the goal. So we're going to say 2030. This is the goal for 2030. How do you work towards this goal? That is the way to go. And I'm happy that you can see this already for your son. It's amazing. I mean, that is well, with the additional needs they have, they can still become anything they want to be. Anything like that. What you need to see is use your third eye to look at something about this child that can help the child live a good life, like live a fulfilled life, irrespective of the disability. Yeah, and so we're about to round up now, but I want to just ask what message you have for mothers, teachers, and the government.
Okay, let me start with mothers with children with special needs. My first advice for mothers is that please find your joy first of all. And I've said before, if you didn't get anything from this session, please get this one. Find your joy first of all. Then secondly, accept your child. And the third part is that read up, be educated. And I'll give you a scenario. On Friday, just this Friday, I took Enoch to the eye clinic because I observed that he would need glasses because he squints a lot and it's obvious that he has some refractions. So I had to get eye drop from Alpha Pharmacy, from a pharmacy. So when I got there, because the way he was behaving, then I met somebody who told me that, he needs prayers. He needs, I said, okay. But my point is that if we are educated, then we will not, some people will just tell you, come here, let me mix you something, let me take you to see somebody. But when you already know that that is not what you need, the money you have, you will channel it to other things and not go and be buying things that are irrelevant. So it's the kind of place that we stay, the kind of our environment, Nigeria, we are very spiritual. Yes, it's very good. But let's find our joy. Secondly, let's accept our child. Number three, let's be educated. And because if we have these three, then you see that you will move fast and you will not have to go to one place, maybe for a prayer meeting and say, come and see somebody, come and bring money here. All those ones will not be there. And the Lord will help us. Then for the government needs to do more for children with disabilities. I don't know, before now, Nigeria didn't have any signed law for people with, I don't know if they have it now. We're in a country where you have to struggle for yourself. It's not like the other developed countries where there are plans for children, but here you need to struggle for yourself. It's every man to his own child. So the energy we need to do that, we need the government to come in and help out. If we have 2, 3, 4 solid centers where children with Down syndrome are being taken care of, we can see them thrive. We see them all over the internet, striving, graduating, getting married, achieving milestones. We can also achieve that here in Nigeria. Then to other people that have people with special needs around them, mothers especially, let's just show love to people. If you don't have anything to say, just keep quiet. It's not compulsory that you must talk. If you must say anything, let it be something that is edifying. Because I've said earlier, every parent or caregiver with a child with special needs has already a trauma already he or she is going through. So adding your comments, adding your comments will do no good. So if you don't have any comment to give, just keep quiet. But if you want to give comments, let it be something that will encourage the person. Because many people that go into suicide and depression, this is what happens. And I bet you don't want to go into depression. So that is why I said that yourself first, find your joy. Number 2, accept your child. And number 3, be informed. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And I think you've answered my last question. It was, do you think there is hope for children to thrive in Nigeria? I think you touched on that a bit. I think there is hope if the government can do more. But also, I'm a believer of people that say, I'm of that school of thought of people that say, you cannot wait for the government just because of the kind of country we are in. Though we are hopeful that things will get better, but right now we cannot wait for the government to do. Before we begin to do what we have to do. You haven't touched on the teachers. What makes it dear for teachers, especially teachers that really don't understand our kids, and what do you have for those that are teaching our kids? Because it can be frustrating.
For teachers not teaching our kids, they still need to be informed. Because I've actually gone to a school before where the woman told me that no, they can't accept him, and we educated. She didn't want to even learn. I just said, I beg, let's go. She's not ready to learn. So, but they need to be informed. Then, because then for people that are taking our children, I believe they are trained, and if they are not trained, they just need more of patience. Because these children, I believe that they respect the teachers more. Like with me, Enoch does a lot of silly things, but if he's in school, I see that he's more serious. So the teachers, the children look up to these teachers. So they should just be more patient. They are doing a good work, and they should just continue doing more than what they have been doing.
Wow. Thank you so much. In fact, I know that sometime last week a parent told me that apart from the story I shared some time ago, that someone called me and said um, they saw a child in our school, that are we taking did we take the child, like did we absorb the child, or is the child coming to
Mm,
the school, our school? I said yes. They said, "Ah, the first time they brought the child to our own school, all our teachers were away,
imagine.
that they left the child and all of them ran away, that she had to call the mother back, that come your child." That's one. Well, last week again, a parent was sharing with me too that when her daughter was a baby, she had paid school fees, she had dropped paid for everything. All of a sudden, they called her back, and they said that this child cannot be in this setting. Other mothers, other parents that bring their kids to the school would not like to see a child like that in the school. So
Mm,
everything boils down to education and
yes,
information. As much as
yes.
possible, I want to encourage all parents. I've been For the past 1 hour now, I've been with Ife Odunyemi sharing a story on the series My Child Has Down Syndrome. So freaking what? It doesn't really matter no matter the disability the child has. All we want to see is that how can we leverage on the strengths this child has. And amazingly, some of us um pupils or these individuals with these additional needs that we think is going to like deter them have some skills that have not been tapped into. They have some of them are multi-talented, some of them have gifts of descent, some of them can just like be in an environment, some of them are kind of set learners. They can just understand something that would even take us like moments and hours to understand. There are even some things that I've seen some of them do that I can't even do. I cannot draw. I've seen them draw before. I can't beat the drum. I've seen them do that before. I can't play piano. I've seen them do. So I mean, just you just want to leverage on the child's strength, leverage on what continue to see what the child can do alone. Don't look at what the child cannot do. Because from focusing on what the child can do or focusing on how you can help the child and all their potentials, you'll be able to also strengthen the weak areas. And at the end of the day, the child will be able to live and to the best what's the word now? The child will be able to live at least a good life to the best of the child's
Yeah,
capability.
live an independent life.
Independent, yeah, but yeah, so some may not even be independent eventually, but what we're trying to say is that because independence is in various forms. A child that cannot communicate really does not have independence like that if the child has not been taught another means of communication. So we need to also look at areas where we can, help them develop their skills, different skills. Like I'm talking about adaptability. We don't really have much of those. Like I've seen where they use a phone, where someone that is nonverbal uses a phone to communicate what they want. In other countries, it
Mm,
happens. There are different apps. Well, we've not really tapped into what you call ACC,
mm.
alternative augmentative communication system, something like that. That there are other alternatives to use to communicate. So I want to say a big thank you, and we hope that as we're voicing out like this, we can continue to raise our voices till it gets to the government, because we have to start from somewhere. That's what we're saying. Let us come out together to do this together and see how we can keep doing it until our voices are heard.
Yes.
I like to say that we are our children's microphones. We're not really their voices. We are their microphones. When you put a microphone to someone that is talking like, you know,
Let's make it louder.
yeah, the microphone makes people hear louder, makes it more audible, and so it doesn't matter whether they are saying something and we're not hearing. I believe that they are saying something. We may not just be hearing, but they are trying to
Mm,
say something. They are trying to communicate their needs. They're trying to tell us that they feel cheated, that other people are being included in other activities. They're trying to tell us that they also want to go to the park to play. They want to go to parties. They want to like
mm,
be happy. They want to be in that dance group. They want, they're trying to like say something, but nobody's really listening. So I thank you very much for coming on this series and the 10th episode
You're
of our
welcome.
series. Like I said, I know everyone watching here has had a good time listening to you and has learned a lot, from your journey. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. This is Grace Alexander from the UK. Ignorance makes some people to make some terrible comments. Obviously, ignorance is so like, yes. So please, parents, I think I want to leave us with this at the back of your mind. Every day you go out with your child, just get ready to educate someone. Just know because either it is either someone is staring at you or someone is passing a comment, and that's there.
Yeah.
If possible, let's find a way to start responding to. Let's find a way to start responding to those stares now. Before like stare back and then like stare back, like at people that stare at us. But let's just find a way. Use your platform to educate people around you so that there can be acceptance, of our children. Thank you very much. We're rounding up. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Olasimbo from Kaduna. Mrs. Olusinde, we must love our children first, irrespective of their challenges. I'm indeed proud of you, sister. That's a message for you, Ife. Someone is saying they are proud of you. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
really proud of you as well. Well done, well done. And honestly, I love that you tapped into early intervention. We're not saying I reject it in Jesus' name. I reject it in Jesus' name. I reject it in Jesus' name. It's okay to pray. I am not saying it's okay to pray. Thank you. So we've come to the end of this series. I mean, this episode. Next week Sunday, we'll be coming with another guest just for you to listen and learn on their journey. Thank you for joining us. It's been a nice time having you, Ife. God bless you.
Thank you.
I'm also going to look out for our runner, and we'll work together to see how we can set those goals for him. We can reach out to Special Olympics in Nigeria; they're here as well. But we need to find out their programs. So on a good day, you can take him to the field for your pastime, for your holidays. Take him to the field, get a coach for him. That's what we're doing. Get a coach for him that I mean, I can help with that as well. Get a coach for him that can train him. Because funny enough, there are some of them that also love basketball. Maybe he needs to be exposed to that as well. So we'll talk about that later as well because those are
Okay.
some areas, there are areas of strength. So have a nice evening. Thank you once again,
Are you
and
too?
bye everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching. We've come to the end of this episode 10 on the series My Child Has Down Syndrome. So freaking what? As you know me, my name is Tola Makinde, and all I'm trying to do is to raise create awareness and acceptance of persons living with Down syndrome. That is my passion. um that is what I'm really, really passionate about, but of course, with every other child or every other parent of a child living with disabilities, I want to encourage all of us to raise our voices together to end the stigma, end the abuse, the mistreatment and genocide of persons living with different abilities, if you like, persons living with additional needs. And yeah, like my friend my friend Surya said last week, she says that they are persons living with rich abilities. So let us dig deep. Let us tap into those abilities. Let us tap into what they've got to offer. Because I know that there is no child that should be left behind. There is no child that whose talents should be left to waste. And it doesn't matter if they're not even communicating, but always remember that they're trying to say something. So you need to be more patient. You need to discover what it is that they're trying to say, and you need to be there to support them. Also, you need to educate your family members. You need to educate friends around. You need to educate friends. You need to educate people that it's okay, to be around persons with additional needs. You need to educate people that staying with someone with Down syndrome or any other disability, if you're pregnant, does not mean that you have a baby like that. You need people to, so what we're trying to say now is that we want to begin to unpack a lot of things and, continue to even make sure that people do not mistreat our children, people do not marginalize them, people do not relegate them to the background. And most especially, we want to find a voice, want to find that voice for them. And I know that some people are working in legislative areas where they're trying to get some laws to be, put in place. Yeah, there's some laws, I mean, they're not being implemented. So we just must try to continue to do our bit. And this is my own little bit I'm trying to do. Tola Makide here again. Thank you for joining. Have a good week ahead. Bye.